Terahash joins the fight. Fans start screaming, feel the building shake. Megawatts burning for the blocks we chase. Hashboards hammer throwing heat all night. Chat 256 underneath the lights. Difficulty climbing, we're holding the line. Pointed at the pool, let the hash rate climb. Every single share says we're still in the fight. Turning raw power into digital might. No shortcuts, no free ride. Put the power on the line. No handouts, no reverse. Welcome to the proof of work. We are the proof of work.
Recording, okay. Hey everybody, this is Joe, aka Cinco Doggos, coming to you with a cool episode. We're doing a little special here, and I have a really cool guest. I've been following this guy for a while and his project, and I've just had this feeling like, more people know about this. If you've been watching my channel, you've seen me play this live on Twitch. It's called BTC Proof of Play. Okay, it's a game that is in alpha, but this isn't just a video game. Okay, this is a way to learn about Bitcoin. It's a way to have fun with it, to learn about the community around Bitcoin, and maybe even earn some sats. So today we have one of the lead developers here with us. It's Cookie, and we're going to talk a bit about BTC Proof of Play, the cool things going on there, the history of it, and what's up next. So Cookie, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Man, this is my pleasure.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is exciting. I was so excited to do this when you said, "Yeah, I'll do it," because I've been, like I said, I've been playing it, and I enjoy it. It's the matches can be super quick, and it's not something I have to sit down like an MMORPG and devote 9 hours to it or get a raid group together. I can sit down, play a couple matches. It gives me that little burst of dopamine that I need, and then I can move on with my day. I can come back to it later.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, though, if you don't mind, for my folks out there that don't know who Cookie is, can you kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe how you got into Bitcoin?
Yeah. So yeah, hi everyone. This time no cap, and you can probably see my delicate features this time. I am Cookie, aka Graham. I'm from the UK. Or shall I say the socialist state of the UK. I'm sure everyone's heard what's going on over here. But anyway, my duality is obviously I still have a day job. I work in IT, and then the other part of that is, as Cinco said, I've made a game. I've been developing a game. It's been about maybe just over 2 years worth of many hours sitting here. I've got like my battle station, so I've got my several monitors. Just many nights slaving away. I've got a lot of history in playing games. We were talking off camera. We've both played some pretty serious heavy hitter games, and I've always liked collectibles. I've always liked doing collecting. I've loved chumps back in the day. I've had a few Pokemon. Don't have any now, sadly. So please don't hit on me for that. And then I guess I've been doing game development for a good, what we're looking at, probably it's a decade minimum.
Okay.
And I've done some mobile games. This is my first, I would say my first proper, multi-platform game, because it's available on PC, Linux, Mac, and Android. And I've worked with a guy over in sunny Florida. So I don't know where's Florida in relation to where you are? Is
east of me, and it's about a half a day's drive, a little over a half a day's drive for me. So
okay,
yeah, love Florida.
Yeah. So yeah, he's Matt is in Florida. He's an excellent hard what we call a hard surface poly modeler. So he will model using like ZBrush or Blender. Maya, he was a big Maya. He did a lot of tutorials. But basically, we're sort of a two-man team. And you can imagine the time zone difference, which is very similar to what we've got going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 5-6 hours difference. He's been involved heavily. And I've been working with him for sort of just over a decade as well. So I'm more the heavy, more into Bitcoin side of the team. He's dabbled, and not putting any FUD on it. He's not sold on it just yet. and we all know people that you can speak to until you're blue in the face.
Hmm.
He's not quite sold on it, but for me, this is a passion. You'll hear me say this is a passion project. It's the fact that I've been doing it for well over 24 months, and I'm still here. There's I think there's tons of things going on with it. You
Hmm.
can, it's fully playable. It is still in alpha state, but it's a fully playable, well-rounded game. And hopefully, after today's chat, everyone listening will be able to get a little bit of more of a feel for it. And it is out there available to play. It's free to play, downloadable now on all of the platforms mentioned. And hopefully, if you've got 5 minutes spare, you can play a game
Hmm.
and earn some sats. Equally, it's easy to play, but equally it's hard to master.
Yeah.
So there's a big strategy curve. So people look at it and go, "Oh, that looks really straightforward and simple. Great, get involved." But you'll find as you play it, things will develop, and we're adding new content and new features and logic to the game as we go. We're getting to a point where I think we're probably capping it off now, because you can have too much scope creep.
Absolutely.
With anything in life, if you can just you can break something that's probably working well.
Yep. Tweak it to death.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So I think I'm at a very good position with it. There's quite a bit of history with my development as well. So again, you might know, but there was a hack involved last year. Some Bitcoin sadly was taken, and I took that to kind of light a fire underneath me to sort of carry on and bring it to where it is now, which is I believe a very solid, decent Bitcoin game, which I think there's not that many about.
There's
So
not. There's only a few as far as I've seen. So, and this to me,
yeah,
this is the one that because it does have such a gentle entry barrier,
yeah,
and it checks a lot of boxes for someone like me. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a kid who grew up in
yeah.
the was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s and 90s. I
You don't
remember,
look it.
yep, and I remember going into my game shop, going to buy some Dungeons and Dragons books, and on the counter was, and I've told this story on my gaming stream before. There was a little display, and it said Magic the Gathering, and I said to the guy at the counter, I was
Yeah,
like, "What's this crap?" Here I am, this snot nosed kid. What's this crap? And he goes, "Oh, it's the newest thing. Everybody loves it." And I'm like, "Whatever." And he was like, "Look," he's like, "I'm gonna
yeah,
tell you and your friend right now." My buddy Rob was with me. He said, "Buy a starter pack." It was like $7.99. He was like, "Buy a
yeah,
starter pack. If you like it, come back, get more. We have expansion packs, whatever." He gave us each a free expansion pack with it, a free X pack. And he said, "If you don't like it, just bring it back to me. I'll take the cards back. I'll give you your money back." I was like, "All right, cool." So there's no
wow,
risk, right? So
it's a
we
solid guarantee.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I was like, that's, even as a kid, I was like, for someone to say that, like in a small game shop where these guys never made money, you know what I mean? They just, back then,
yeah, yeah,
game
yeah.
shops did not make money.
Small margins. Yeah,
Hmm. And we went home, we went into my basement, and we sat down, we read the little white paper rule book, and we totally didn't play the game right. But we tried it and we liked it, and we're like, okay. And the next day, of course, we went back, we bought more X packs. And this was back, like, for people who are Magic the Gathering nerds. This was during, um there was alpha, beta, and then revised. We were between beta and revised when this came out, so this is early 90s. Early
yes.
90s. And those cards nowadays, some of them, like, I remember I had a beta Sheevan dragon that's probably would have been worth money now.
Not now. You not got it now.
No, I don't. I'll tell that story here in a little
What
bit.
happens to these
Man,
cards? It's so many people say I don't have them.
I got FOMO and I traded those. So a few years
Ah,
later,
yeah.
yeah, a few years later, the folks at TSR put out, this is before they were bought, before Dungeons and Dragons was bought by Wizards of the Coast. They were TSR
Yes.
back in the Gary Gygax days. And they
Yeah.
put out their own version of a collectible card game, and it was called, I forget, but it was a D&D version of
Like a
Magic.
competitor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I traded all of my MTG cards for those. Those are worth nothing now. And I played that a couple times with some friends, and then, like, nobody was playing it. But by then, I was like, I had traded away all my Magic cards, so it
Yeah.
was like, well,
Yeah.
screw that up. So,
you probably, I guess, like most people, you saw something come out. It was early,
hmm
and it's a gamble.
hmm
It is a gamble. I mean, it's a gamble for me making the game. So,
yeah,
and just to add to what I was saying with the opening gambit, I mean, it started relatively small. Um, obviously, I'm not sitting here with a massive studio. I don't have a huge budget. And I'll be honest, there wasn't like a massive Web3 business plan behind it. It was just I wanted to create this
make a
card
game.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we were building this Bitcoin card game because we wanted one to exist. Because and quite, I've looked. I mean, there is obviously the Bitcoin trading cards,
hmm
the TCG stuff, but not. I have not, and I don't. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but there's nothing. God forbid, after this, someone comes out with an amazing competitive game that like rivals mine, eats mine alive. I'm very positive thinking, but there is this like, why has no one else done
hmm
what I've done? But anyway,
No, you're
and
right.
over time, it just
Mhm.
yeah, and over time, it's just kept growing. So the cards have become a lot more sophisticated.
Mhm.
We've added deck building. There's player versus player. So at the moment, you can play 1v1. You can play AI offline. There's progression. I mean, there's so much. There's so many layers. So, like you said, you can jump in 5 minutes, but there's lots of other content to it. You can do progression, tournaments, lighting. There's Nostr in there. You can put your MPub in. If people don't know what an MPub is, it's your Nostr public key. Plug that in, and then you're tagged to a global leaderboard. There's player profiles. There's dot 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 physical cards are coming.
Yep.
Yeah, so I say it with a bit of kind of, and I'm antsy about it because it's a lot of work.
hmm I can imagine. There's so
um,
many things going on with this. That's a lot of work.
yeah, it's been a massive uplift, and that's why it's taken 2 years plus. Because some people have said to me like, "Oh, what's the game?" Da, 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 da. And I sort of give them the spiel, and they go, "Oh, it's taking you 2 years," because I don't think I guess they just don't have any expectation of how long these things take. Because I could probably use an AI agent, drum up some HTML5 type web-based card game.
Mhm.
Great. It would not have the level of I want to say focus
Mhm.
and content that I've made, literally curated myself
Mhm.
and put in love, sweat, tears,
Right.
into it, than just telling an agent to just go and build it and go off and come back. It would, I think, it would be a little bit soulless.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
absolutely. The sophistication wouldn't be
planting my
there.
flag there.
Yeah. And I use AI for a lot of stuff, but I totally agree with you. The level of
Yeah,
sophistication would not be there. The level of community would not be there because it couldn't. Like you said, it would be
that's the big
soulless.
one.
It would probably be technically and mechanically a
Efficient.
game. But
Yeah,
is that what you really want? Do those last? No, it's the games that people put, and as gamers, we know this, right? It's the level
yeah,
of love that is put into a game by the developers that will reflect into the community. You and I were
I think
talking
so.
a little while ago about EVE Online, a game I played for 2
Yeah,
decades. And the only reason why that game survived is because there is a love of the game, not just by the people who play it, but this
yeah,
almost adversarial War of the
yes.
Roses love between the developers and the players and
Oh, not just in game between different because you've got like
factions and yeah.
factions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's this.
Which you'd expect to be a thing in the game, but if you're saying it's the developers versus the
Yeah,
players.
I mean, they have a whole thing, and not to get too far off on that, but they have a whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
in EVE Online. It's the every year the players get to elect the paying members get to elect a. It's basically a player board of directors that their
yeah. Wow.
job is to go to Reykjavik, sit down with the developers, and push issues that the players want. That's been a thing
So like a
for
steering
like a
committee.
steering committee, and their job
Yeah.
is to kind of they don't get to steer they don't get to tell the developers how to build their game, but they give solid feedback from their niche
Yes.
communities in the game, the wormhole guys, the bigger block guys, the miners, all these different groups that are in Eve, and they get to bring that to the devs and say, here's why we think this needs to be tweaked, fixed, needs more love, whatever it is.
I guess could you call that kind of they're asking for consensus, or am I
Yeah, no, that
off?
I would say that's very accurate. It is consensus because all these little groups within the game have different angles they're coming
Mm,
from. They're
Yeah.
not all, you know, it's not a game. That game is very open world sandbox, very
It's
capitalist.
huge.
So everybody's
Yeah, yeah,
coming
yeah.
at it from different directions. They're individual set, and they'll take their small group of this is what we do in the game, and they'll say to developers, we want to see more, we want to see less, we want to see it tweaked. So, not
Yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah.
that that's something that has to happen in proof of play, but it's the fact that there's an attention between the players and the devs, and there is a love there. It's not just a computer saying, here's the next widget to go into a game.
And I'm here. I'm like, I am. You can, touch me. You can meet me at events. I've
Right.
been to several events this year as well. So the main thing to sort of cap this part of the question off, I guess, was that at some point, it stopped feeling like a little Bitcoin game,
Mm-hmm.
and the experiment started to feel like an actual ecosystem. And that's hopefully what I'm sort of presenting to people. Like you said, it's a learning, educational, fun. Not even it's not a tool. It is a game,
Mm-hmm.
but you can jump in. You could jump in as a non-Bitcoiner and still play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, like you said, the level of access is free. It's easygoing, but it's the attention. If you want to spend the time playing it, you'll learn all of the different layers that are involved in making the entire product.
Mm-hmm.
So
And yeah,
mm,
and this is, I mean, you feel it. To me, when you jump in the game, you do feel that there's a lot that goes into. We'll talk about here in a little bit because there's like some of the cards in here are people that I know, like people I've met, and that again, that's community. That gives you some buy-in as a player, like that you what's going on
yeah,
there. A lot of
could I be a card?
exactly right, and
You're playing the game. One day, I
mhm,
could be a card.
right, exactly. And
So
if you're part of like the Bitcoin army on X, you're going to see people that you talk with frequently. And it's not that you're and I don't feel that it's just like you saying like, "Well, I'm gonna throw this in there because I know these people." It's more like there's a respect
no,
level saying like, "Hey, this person does things for Bitcoin. We're gonna recognize that." And that's
yes,
kind of cool.
it
So,
is recognition, and it's a big thing. I think a lot of people. I know. Obviously, we've conversed, and everyone. Cinco's got a card as well, so he's in there. He's in there. If so this again, we'll get to it, but you start off with a certain, I would say, soul-bound 30 cards. So
mhm,
there's every player starts off on the same level, balanced playing field.
mhm,
You start off with the same 30 cards. So those 30 cards you could call are like the Genesis. The Genesis 30, they are essentially everyone's cards at the beginning. But this is the great thing about the game I've built. As you play and you stick at it over time, time being a very key component of being a Bitcoiner,
mhm,
over time, the more proof of play that you put in, which is such a cliche,
yeah,
the more proof of play, your game will evolve because you'll unlock new cards. You'll unlock some very specific cards. You can also go and specifically get original cards as well. So again, don't want to digress, but I know we've got our questions to go through, but
yep.
I just wanted to
This
get that
that's
in.
my
So
adult ADHD kicking in and going
yeah,
off on
yeah, yeah.
rabbit trails there. But
Tangents.
yeah, but no, it's there's so much, and this might
There
even
is
be
a
a
lot.
we might have to do multiple sessions talking because there's so much that goes into this that people need to know. But yeah, getting back to the list. So originally the game was called BTCG, and then it became Proof of Play. I really like the Proof of Play name. I think it fits. But what changed in the vision that you think made that name kind of fit better, kind of pinned it down for your vision of this?
Okay, so originally it was BTCG. That was the original working identity of the project. Um, that was originally a very much more focused. It was a card game. I know that sounds obvious. We've just been talking about it, and it is a card game. But it didn't have. So for people that have played it, or as you know, you've played it, there's a ton of extra features now with it. So as I kept building, the project did grow broader in scope. I got a lot of feedback as well. So I've taken the game to events and people have played it. And, I'm a great believer in all feedback is good. Negative feedback is good. Positive feedback, obviously, great. Um, and so then, obviously, the key thing for me was I wanted multiplayer anyway and I wanted offline, so that it started with as a card game you could play an AI because people love to play offline.
Mhm,
Not everyone's a multiplayer. I get that, but people love the single player stuff.
mhm,
So I've had to really work at an AI that when you play, it will challenge you.
right.
So it's not easy.
Mhm,
So there's that. And then I took it to Prague. I took the game to Prague, BTC Prague. Amazing. I'm not gonna. We could go off on a completely separate conversation about that place. Incredible. The people, amazing.
It's on my bucket list.
Just
I got to get to Prague one year.
honest. I want to go to America as well, by the way. So I just got to chuck that in there. Prague is amazing, but it's still Europe. Europe's lovely,
Yeah.
but I want to go to America. Anyway, I'll get to that. So again, it grew more broader. So I stuck tournaments in there. So a lot of feedback was tournaments. And as you said earlier, you can earn sats by playing the game. So passively, there's no like, I need something from you for you to earn sats. You literally play the game, and there's a component in the game. So I'll try and keep it as broad overview as possible. You've got your hand of cards, and you've got a board in front of you and your opponent. You can play up to 6 cards down in front of you, and it's lane-based gameplay. So as you choose a card to attack the opponent's card or them directly, what they call a sats cachet will drop. And if you're lucky enough to have a card and it's your turn, you can play your card against the opponent where the sats cachet is, and you can collect that. So once you collect it, it goes into a bit of a weighted system of deciding whether I'm going to award it, whether it's going to reward you a sat, or whether it's going to give you an in-game part of the currency. And again, we can get further into that. So there's that. There's progression, player profiles. Lightning is involved. So obviously, when we pay out to you as a player, you have to obviously submit your Lightning wallet address. So it will, it's great. Imagine you've got your phone. Everyone's got their phone, not even a foot away from them or in their hands. It's open, and you open your depending what's your wallet of choice.
So lately I've been using Strike for Lightning.
Yeah, same. So you could have Strike open, and as you're playing the game and you collect the sats cachet, as we know on the Lightning side of things, the layer 2, it's instant essentially. Within a second, your phone will light up and it will say BTC Proof of Play sats cachet. You've earned a sat, and the 2 years of development, part of the latter end of that, a good few months, was making sure that worked. You've got to account for any erroneous problems that may arise, and you've got to account for different people's systems. There's a lot of debugging, is what I'm going to say. So, and obviously there's the physical cards and the wider ecosystem around it. And at that point, BTC Proof of Play came about. It felt like a much better description of what I was creating. BTCG, I think, also flew a little bit close to some competitors. And that's another thing. You can start out in we can build anything we want. We're humans. You can just go and have at it. But if you're not careful, sometimes you can fly a little close to the sun, and you get a little burnt. So I'm alluding to something. I'm not going to go any further into it, but the part of the name change was there was a small incident, should we say, and I needed to sort of pivot slightly with the name. But it all worked out. I'm more happy with the new name than I was with the previous one. You look back and you go, actually, I'm really glad I changed the name, and it just made more sense. Proof of Play, it's too good. it's too on the nose.
There's a lot in a name too, right, man? There's like a lot goes into a name. Somebody looks at a name and they say, what is that, right? So again, not knocking it, but BTCG, okay, very generic. It explains what it is, right? It does its job. But BTC Proof of Play, well, what does that mean, right? So now it pulls you in, you take a look at it. Well, why is it called that? And it fits with this ecosystem you've built in the game. It fits, and it makes it, and this kind of segues into the next question I wanted to go over with you, which was, this isn't just some other generic online digital card game that was reskinned with some Bitcoin stuff on it, right? Any AI can do that. I can plug that into my AI right now and say, make this for me, and that's what it would be. But that's not what this is. There's so many different layers in that, and so the whole going from a generic, like, again, it's not just a crypto skin game. What does the whole, like, the Bitcoin native mean to you in game design terms that goes with that? Because the name really does pull it to that level.
That's a really good question. So it means if you imagine stripping Bitcoin out of the game, it's probably a good way to start. So if you strip Bitcoin out of the game, quite a lot of the game would probably stop making sense.
Mhm.
Um, if so hash rate isn't just a Bitcoin word that we've stuck on the mana bar. So
Mhm.
there might be some people that don't understand what I mean by mana. You obviously know what I'm talking about. So it's the resource. The hash rate is the resource that powers everything what you do in the game. It's the only thing you must have that to be able to play cards onto the board. Network integrity is your health,
Mhm.
but it isn't just health with a Bitcoin logo next to it. We have mining, block heights, mempool activity, Bitcoin personalities.
Mhm.
I'm in there as well. Historical events, hardware, attacks, nodes, protocols, and concepts represented throughout the game. So even individual physical cards can carry a Bitcoin block height as well. So that was the latest edition because I wanted to, if they're going to go physical,
Mhm.
if you imagine having a physical card and you've got the imprint of the
Right?
block height at the bottom,
Uh-huh.
everyone loves those little ancillary type of like the extras, the
Oh,
little
yeah.
details. If you're looking at a card, especially if we were to go, if we were eventually to get them graded, um, I mean, that's a completely different beast getting
Mhm.
cards graded. But yeah, that could happen. I've planned for that, but again, there's so many moving parts.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, if you were to strip Bitcoin out of the game, it would just be a generic, like you say, it would be a generic card game. Um, the native part, I mean, I'm going to put it right out there. You get paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It runs on the Bitcoin layer.
Mhm.
The game itself it doesn't include any NFTs, doesn't include tokens.
Right.
I've tried to keep it as very sort of Bitcoin rounded and again native as I possibly could. Um, I actually early on I thought that the game didn't feel Bitcoin native. I know that sounds a bit sort of not intuitive. I was developing the game and I was like, oh, it just feels like a standard Bitcoin game. Okay, I could stick Bitcoin as the name in there, like you say, BTCG.
Mhm.
And I didn't feel like I was doing myself a proper service and I felt like I was doing a disservice to my future players. So, you know, with the little incident that I had, I think it was all fate and it sort of pushed me into a direction where I went, "Do you know what, I'm going to put all my chips in
Mhm.
and I'm going to incorporate proper Bitcoin payments. That in itself has materialized into the game. As you've got it yourself, you probably found you can get it on itch,
Mhm.
but it's not available currently via the traditional Google Play
Mhm.
or the Apple App stores.
Right.
I mean, they have a very stringent requirement where if I was to put the game on their marketplace, yes, they'll take 30%, fine, but they'll take 30% of all fiat rail standardized payments.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily be able to put Bitcoin in there. I
Mhm.
know some people have said to me, "Are you sure?" But I'm working my own, mostly doing all the development. I haven't had the time to be able to sit down and sort of go over all of the T's and C's.
Mhm.
I am looking at getting the game into Google Play and the Apple App Store, but it's cost, it's time, it's development. There's a lot of things to go over. I just wanted to get that in there because
Yeah.
a few people have said to me, "Well, why can't I download it on Apple? Why can't I download it on Google Play Store?" Well, I'm kind of doing the whole Bitcoiner thing. I'm being an anarchist.
Yeah.
The game's available outside the
I kind of
traditional
think it fits.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's outside the system.
Mhm.
You can still play it, you still get it, but you have to go through a few extra little kind of hoops to
Mhm.
get to it. But once you've got it, it
It
works. It
sure
plays.
does.
So
It sure, I've never had a
mm,
problem with it, and again, I know it's in
thank
alpha,
you.
but I've never had it like crash on me. I've never had it, and mind
Good.
you, like, I play polished AAA games that will
And they crash.
yeah, and I know, like, okay, I'm gonna get 2 matches in and I gotta prep for a crash and I gotta restart the game, like, happens all the, and these
You
are
know it's
from
coming.
big name companies, and they'll just say like, "Well, yeah, it happens." But I've never had this crash, and
Faceless as
yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, and again, if you're if you're not a Bitcoiner and you're getting into this, it's probably gonna pull you in. You could probably play this game not
I
as a
hope so.
Bitcoiner and still have a great time with it because it's fun. But
You won't know what the cards mean, or like
right.
essentially what the artwork relates to. But
Mhm.
again, that's the whole thing because you're going to play it. It's like anybody playing a new game.
Mhm.
You like you say, you get pulled in, and it's spending time with it. Again, you need to spend time with the game eventually
Mhm.
to really learn what the game's all about and what it's going to give you. It will give you things. It actually pays you Bitcoin.
Mhm.
It's I told people that like I'm paying Bitcoin now, and it just sometimes like you know what we're like as humans. We're a bit fickle. We're like, really?
Yeah.
Does it? What's the
Yeah,
catch? And
what's
it's
the
like
catch? How much do I
I'm
gotta pay you to get that back? There's
yeah,
always that what's in it, what's in it for you? Yeah.
I'm so what's in it for me is I can prove that I can do something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that I've said this before in I've put my market stall out and I'm saying, here's my product. All I want from you in exchange is some of your time. If you want to tip me or give me some Bitcoin as a tip,
Mhm.
as like a oh, thanks for allowing me to have some fun.
Mhm.
Because Bitcoin can be, let's be honest, the ecosystem can be sometimes a little harsh.
Mhm.
I swear a lot, so I'm being very careful with my words. It can be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll probably cover that later
Mhm.
on, but
I'm sure.
there's been some difficult moments, and I think everyone needs a release, and everyone needs a little bit of fun. And as we said, there are factions within Bitcoin,
Mhm.
and I haven't actually. So there's a part I've already programmed in which I've not enabled, which is there's going to be factions,
Okay. That's
which is
cool.
going to spice stuff
Yeah,
up,
it will.
which is great. Yeah. So if you already think so, there'll
Mhm.
be certain collections of cards that will relate to a certain faction. Then you start getting, I'm playing to the whole culture of like red team, blue
Sure.
team, however you want to, whatever camp you want to put yourself in. I'm not going to mention the
Mhm.
most recent
Yep.
contentious stuff in Bitcoin, but there's certain camps, so that's coming. So
That'll be interesting, especially in
um,
tournaments. I'm sure that'll be, and that'll get people
yeah,
going too. I mean, from a marketing standpoint, my educational background, I'm a marketing guy, but thinking about, getting that emotional buy-in where somebody's like, I need to get more friends playing this because this tournament's coming up and I don't have enough people in my faction.
yeah,
So,
you need your rep up,
mhm,
and you like you say when you become committed to a game, it kind of becomes a part of you, and
mhm,
you'll end up in conversations. One day I'd like to think that like at Bitcoin meetups, people will be able to take the physical cards with them. So they're at a Bitcoin meetup, and they're like, like almost like having a pocket stake. They get their cards out and they're like, oh look, I've got my BTC pop cards.
uh-huh,
Brilliant.
yep,
Have you got any? And they might even show it. Have you got any pop cards? And it'd
mhm,
be like, here you go.
yeah,
And they're like in the corner of the Bitcoin meet, and they're like shuffling the cards out
yep.
and like going, "Oh, I like that one.
And,
What do you want for it?"
and then
And
other people start coming over going, what's this? Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the virality of it,
Mhm,
And this is why you've got to stick at things. I think there's a lesson in there. If you stick at things and you have the passion, it will bleed through. And I think people will eventually pick up on what it is you're trying to do. I've had loads of great positive feedback where they're like, I can see what you're trying to do, and just stick at it.
yeah.
And I'm like, I am going nowhere unless
Yeah, of course, but
I, God forbid,
right.
I am going nowhere. So
That's great.
I went off on a tangent there.
No,
I'm
no,
so
that's
sorry.
good, but it's good because I really want people to see because there's a lot of passion in this that you've put into it,
Yes.
and it's reflected in the game. And I think a lot of people that are probably watching this, when they initially watch this interview, they're going to be like, I don't necessarily get everything. Like they're going to get the gist of it, and then they're going to say, all right, let me go download it, and they're going to play it, and
Yeah.
they're going to think back to this talk, and they're going to say, nah, all right, that's what he meant. So it's going to sink in, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get a little bit into the game itself now. We'll talk a little
Okay.
bit about the mechanics of it. So, if you don't mind, we've talked a little
Mhm.
bit about, there's hash rate, there's things like that. Walk us
Yeah.
through the basic gameplay loop for someone who has never played. Like what happens, like, you log in, you get into a match, you've got your first 30 cards. Just kind of a basic walkthrough of what happens in the game.
Okay. So you've got your game, you've downloaded it, you've booted it up, you're presented with the hub. So at the heart of it, it is pretty simple. I've said that before. So it may look complicated, but it's not. I've tried to. It's very colourful. I know that. I've had that as feedback. Um, so you basically build a 30 card deck, and then you battle another player, and that will be either AI or a real opponent. And again, it's across 6 lanes, as I mentioned. Um, Both players start with 20 network integrity, which is your health, which, yeah, it's effectively your health.
Mhm.
You also generate hash rate. So how you would generate hash rate is you start with, I think the game starts with 3 hash rate. That's like there's a minimum threshold of 3 hash rate. That allows you to potentially play 1 or 2 cards
Mhm.
down to the board. Um, and then there are certain cards you can play called artifact cards, and if they're in play, they will actually generate you additional hash rate. So you earn +1 hash rate every time it's your turn.
Mhm.
There are different types of cards. There's four different card types. So operators are generally your attackers. Artifacts provide support, as mentioned, so you can earn that extra hash rate with those. You can also manipulate lanes with artifacts as well. So I won't give too much away, but like you can stun a lane.
Mhm.
You know, there's some extra features there. Signals. So if you imagine like an aura type card, I don't know if most people know what I mean by that. You can, if that card's in play, that card will give off an aura across the rest of your bank of cards that are in play. So they'll potentially give like a +2 on your attack for each card, or a +1 on your defense for each card. Protocols, finally, they're basically your healing cards. So if you've got a protocol card, I've tried to make the icons on the middle of the cards very clear. So the orange symbol is like a symbol of a head. That's an operator. You've got the artifact card, which is sort of like a little chip with a cog in it. Protocol cards are they're like a greenish type of card symbol, and then the signal is kind of your pinkish type icon. I'm keeping it very simple.
I actually
When
have the
people
game
see
up
it,
on the screen while you're saying this. Well, I have the website up and I'm showing the cards as you're saying it. You can't see me doing
yeah,
that, but people will
yeah,
be able to
yeah,
follow along with this as you're
keep
describing
going.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
As my assistant is showing on screen. So you're left with basically, so you've got your 4 card types, you've got your 6 lanes, you can play whatever cards down. Some are instant, some are obviously in play, which are the operators. If your opponent doesn't have something to defend the opposing lane, so bear in mind you've got 6 lanes, and they're, you have your 6 lanes, and the other opponent has 6 lanes mirroring your 6 lanes.
Right.
If your opponent doesn't have something defending a lane opposite your card, you can attack that player directly. So in the game, you'll notice there's a big, what I call the firewall, and that's the big honeycomb, kind of electrified firewall, which is the opponent, and you can see their cards just through the firewall. And another cool little thing as well, and again, it's a little touch. If you're playing a player, you can see them as they're looking at their cards. The cards raise up.
Uh-huh.
It's such a cool.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you, when I was developing it, it was like, oh, what can I? Because they were just floating there, and I thought, how do I make it a bit more immersive?
Mhm.
And just seeing, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
it sent chills down my
Yeah, and
back.
it's the other player you're looking at, and I've had that feeling where
Yeah,
I'm looking at it and I'm like, what's he
there.
doing? Why is he
Yeah.
looking at that? And it starts like,
So
oh man, it starts messing with you. I love it.
yeah, and that's part of the strategy as well, isn't it? When you think about it, strategy isn't just what's going on the board; it's the strategy between player versus, like poker.
Absolutely.
There's that level of like,
Human
what's he
interaction. Mhm.
doing? He's got these cards. And the other thing to note is, if you've bought packs from the store,
Mhm.
um, I think they're appropriately priced. I mean, you can
Oh yeah.
price them at whatever price, but I'm not being stupid. If people buy packs in the shop, that's a massive thank you. But what you've also done is you've added like very specifically curated cards to your collection, and that's another thing to point out, is you've got a card collection in the game. At the moment, I think I'm well into the triple figures. But if you buy a pack from the store, the cards have specific skins,
Mhm.
and that's a cosmetic part of the game. So again, another layer. So if you see those cards at your opponent's side, you could see them with their standard, the standard vanilla cards.
Mhm.
But then if you see a card with a skin, you automatically know that that card that's got some meat behind it.
Right.
Dare I say? Is that the right word? Some
Yeah,
meat,
no, it's
some steak
definitely, yeah.
behind it. It's everyone loves steak. It's got some. What I'm saying is, it's going to have some powers.
Mhm.
So again, it plays into the psychological part of the game as well. Subtle, but
Mhm.
it's there.
Oh, yeah.
So back to what I was saying. So essentially, you need to defend your side, and vice versa, the opponent needs to defend their side. So if there's a card in an opposing lane, you can't attack them directly. And when you do attack the player directly, that's the key way to bring their health down. And that is fundamentally one of the reasons, one of the win conditions. So if you like most games, if you can attack the opponent and bring their health to zero, you win.
You win.
So yeah, so you need to bring the network integrity down to zero, and you win. The complexity comes from the deck construction, the timing, some of the other things I just mentioned about the psychological strategy,
Mhm.
lane control.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Mhm.
I won't again. It's just I'm just going to leave it there. Lane control,
Yep.
hash rate management. That's another big
Oh,
one.
yeah.
You can slap all of your cards down and use all of your hash rate, but you might notice your opponent's actually not played a card down. Okay, maybe they've left themselves open, but what will happen is if you don't play a card down, that gives you a bonus. So for not playing a card from your hand to the board, gives you an additional +1 hash rate.
Mhm.
Again, all of these things are not only just being told by me now, but there is a combat log
Mhm.
which details every single move and every single thing that has happened while you're playing.
Mhm.
So you can always revert to that, and it's scrollable as well, so you can go right back to the beginning of the game while you're playing as
Mhm.
well. Um, again, so that's part of the complexity. And then I hope I've made it easy enough to understand that what we're trying to give is enough underneath that experienced players can genuinely outplay each other.
Mhm.
So that level will come again once you've invested a little bit of time playing the game. I love with games. I don't know about you, but when you're playing, you go, "Oh, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, he's got that." And I'm appealing to different levels of education around Bitcoin.
Right.
You could have a mega experienced Bitcoiner. They play the game and they're like, "Oh my god, I know everything." Like all of this makes sense.
Uh-huh.
This is wonderful. I am in heaven gaming wise.
Mhm.
Then you can have your novice that comes in. They're like, "I have no idea."
Right.
You can jump in the Discord. There's information online. One of my next core tenants is going to be, hopefully, there is a tutorial. It's very dynamically based. So as you play, it tells you roughly what card to do.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to a core tenant will be tutorial of some sort.
Mhm.
That will come later.
Yeah.
So yeah, bear with.
Yep. No, and I think you're right. I think you can come at it from either one of those angles. If you're a gamer who doesn't understand Bitcoin, you're going to learn Bitcoin because you're going to jump in and say, okay, hash rate kind of relates to my mana pool. Integrity
Yeah,
kind of relates to my health. I need lane control. They can figure that stuff out and say, okay, well, now the seeds are being planted and watered through the game of becoming a Bitcoiner, right? And then on the
yeah,
opposite of that, where we've got Bitcoiners who are going to say, I'm not, maybe not a gamer, or they say, I'm going to try it. And next thing you know, they're like, okay, this is fun. They're,
yeah.
like,
And that's all it needs to
yeah,
be.
yep.
That's all I really want, and also a conversation starter.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I was playing. Have you heard of that BTC Proof of Play? Oh, I saw your card.
Hmm.
And then I'm very aware of it. I've got like triple digit cards in there, but let's be honest, there's not triple digit Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
There's thousands,
Yep.
and I'd love to get thousands in there. It's going to take time. I need to obviously get people. I wouldn't say onboarded, but I have got a very, I would like to think, chill way of, look, if you want to be in the game, like you say, with some kudos to them, it's avatar and name. That's literally it. And then I'll work out based on sort of your not your social standing, but like what you are contributing to the ecosystem
Right.
in a way reflects to how your card is curated.
Hmm.
So you might be really powerful. Like, I mean, for example, double A, the guy,
Yep.
he's an, I've got to shout out to him. He's been
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
The guy constantly at the gym. He's a solid character, what an amazing guy as well. I mean, real work ethic.
Yep.
I haven't said that, that's probably wrong. He's retired. The I digress, but my point is I've got these role models and I'm transferring them into the game,
Mhm.
and then people can have conversations around that. And they can be, oh my god, I played the game the other day and I saw your card, or oh,
Mhm.
I just unlocked a card. Feeds into that, like, look at these new cards I've unlocked.
Yep.
And I don't think we've even, if I believe, we haven't even got to the bit where you unlock new cards yet.
Mhm.
So
So, yeah, and yeah, okay, so we're going through that. Now, something I kinda wanna just branch off a little bit
yeah,
from there, because this is
yeah,
something that's near and dear to my heart that you've added in, and I love it because it
yes,
creates 2 things, and it's, again, that time preference where you're looking down the line, it gives you a reason to come back to the game, but it also rewards you. The mining aspect. I love that. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that was something I was so like, oh, I was like, "Oh, I love this."
so I had a lot of people say to me, so is the game, so this will make a bit more sense to you. So I've got my, can't see it, but I've got my bit axe behind me. So
Okay.
it's just on the shelf behind me.
Mhm.
Um Someone said to me, this is when I went to Prague, they said, so you've got the game, so I've got mining in there at the moment, and the mining currently works on a passive. What I mean by passive is you can just play the game, and just by playing the game, if you go into the mining sections, there's four clear buttons. You've got your card collection, your mining collection or your mining area.
Mhm.
You've got the background boards, the environment you play in, and then the shop. Now, if you go into mining, I've set it out in a way where it's sort of a orthographic view. You follow a tree of nodes. Now, these nodes, you can click on them, and then you've got two buttons at the bottom: mine and claim. So the very first one, you can mine it. But when you click mine, you'll notice it comes up with like um, a scrollable bar, and it relates to the amount of time it takes to mine that node.
Mhm.
So I've gamified it. It's not real mining. It's not using your resources. I'm not hijacking your PC. I'm just,
Right.
disclaimer. What it is doing though is it's real time. So once you click mine, that node will tell you, okay, it's going to take 5 days to unlock. It's real time.
Mhm.
So you could, if you wanted to, shut the game down, come back in a week, 5 days time, or just before it's about to finish, and you'll see it. I'll have the claim button. You can click the claim button, and when you click the claim button, the magic appears. You can. There's a weighted randomness depending on what node you've clicked. So there's three rarity types. You've got common, rare, and legendary. Common, you're more than likely just going to unlock three common cards. But when they unlock, you get like a flashy screen, it
Mhm.
pops up with the cards. You can like have a look, see what card you've unlocked, and essentially they're then deposited to your card collection. You accept those, head to the card collection, and there's the cards. Now, back to my first part, I was leading down. I went to Prague, and someone mentioned, right, so you've got your game. Obviously, you've got your passive mining, which I've just explained. Could you? So this is just out there. I haven't done it, but could you somehow have it where a player, if they have got a mining rig or a setup, connect the physical mining rig into the game somehow, and essentially it would allow them to speed up the mining of the nodes in the game just by having the miner collected? It blew my mind a little bit because I was like, "Oh my god, that's cool,"
Uh-huh.
but it wouldn't. I mean, I don't know the technicalities of would I be taking away some of the hash power? Because obviously
Mhm.
I'm talking to you know, the expert here,
Mhm.
but you buy the mining machine to specifically do mining and hashing and algorithmic work to work out, you know,
Right.
difficulty. And I wouldn't want to take any of that away. But could I have it so that it knows it's connected,
Mhm.
and in that case, you get like a bonus for mining a node.
I think
It was
I think we need to talk to, at some point, I need to get you with Ryan over at Carpoo's Mining, because him and his
okay.
partner, Eric, have the Hashboard app, and that might be
Yeah,
something that it just because all that does is monitor your network. Maybe it's just talking to a monitor like Hashboard app, and it
yeah,
recognizes it. That might be and again, those are software guys. I'm not a software guy.
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna get you with Eric and
That'd be
Ryan. That
amazing.
might be something that, like, actually could be a thing where it taps into your,
Yeah,
you connect to your Hashboard app and it shows, oh, you're
and
mining
it
this,
just sees
50
it.
TH per second with your bit axes and your other little devices you got going. and it gives you
You
some
could,
type of a reward for being part of the real
yeah,
network.
if you're like, if I guess if you're if you're because you get like peaks and troughs, don't you,
Right.
depending on how well it's set up and how well it's called and
Mhm.
things. Depending on what the hash rate is currently at, yeah, it could vary. Like if you I don't know, if you hit a certain peak
Mhm.
of hash rate, it could unlock, you could like unlock a slightly better bonus
Mhm.
for a period of time, and then it'll
Exactly.
cool down.
Mhm.
There's loads of,
There's
yeah,
tons of things you can do, but that's interesting,
yeah,
right? That's again, here you are
yeah.
looking at making it more more viable for Bitcoiners. I'm telling you, I think there's miners out there that would I know I would. I'd be like,
I mean, to
hook it up.
gamify it just on the side,
Mhm.
it'd be like, oh, I've got the game again. The game's not costed you, it cost you anything, but it's just a bit of fun, you know. That's all I want to give people is a
Heck
bit of
yeah.
fun, and if I can get something out of it, just a small amount out of it, that'd be amazing, you know. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No. And that's great stuff. So anything else about the mining that we need to talk about before we move on? I think it's a cool concept though. It gives that side thing to the actual gameplay that keeps things going
Yeah,
in the background, which is awesome.
you can. I mean, there's one thing worth mentioning. Obviously, I mentioned where you can mine and claim. There's buttons above the on the UI in mining, which essentially, if you want to, so you can play the game 100% free
Mhm.
without even spending a penny. And this was a big core, again, a tenant that I wanted to, you know, that was my umbrella. I wanted to make, because not everyone's got money,
Right.
you know, and I want to put the fun out there for people at all degrees, all levels. So you'll have your whale, and they want to buy everything. They want to fast track their way to, you know,
Okay. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's a ton of Bitcoin or money,
Right.
whatever. I want to get. I want to. That's how I play. You know, that's me.
Mhm.
And then you've got the other end of the scale, people that just they like the slow grind.
Right.
You know, I've put my proof of play, my proof of work into the game,
Yep.
and also there are milestones in there, so it's all tracked from a milestone perspective, and you get that kind of that drip feedback. There's dailies in there as well, so
Mhm.
you can see how far you've been going with that, and I think they're linked to mining as well.
Mhm.
But in the mining, there's extra buttons. You can go to the shop and you can buy boosts.
Mhm.
It's my point. You can buy the boosts, and the boosts will speed along your mining. But if you don't want to buy those,
You don't have to.
you don't.
Right.
You don't
Exactly.
have to.
It's not a as we like to say in the gaming world, it's not a pay to play. It doesn't
Correct.
mean that you're a pay to win, rather, I should say. It's not pay to win.
Yeah.
You can do it, it
Yeah.
gives you some bonuses, but other people can still get that without hitting a paywall. It just now
Yeah.
you're going to put in your time preference, right? If
Yeah.
somebody says
Yeah.
I've got more money than time, okay, that's
Yeah.
not a bad
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly.
Right, that's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. There's people out there in Bitcoin that they have more money than time and they want to pay and they DCA or they buy Bitcoin, right? That doesn't make
Spot
it
on.
any better or worse than the
No.
guy who's TCA
No.
in $10 a week or got his, got
That's me.
yeah, exactly.
That's me.
Yeah, me
Us
too. Yeah.
devs are broke.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like I have my mining rigs and my mining rigs. I'm not a millionaire. I,
Yeah.
I got my mining rigs and that's how I DCA. Everybody does it different. You come at it from different angles, but it's still for
Yes.
everybody. Proof of play really kind of encapsulates that environment of Bitcoin where you've got people coming from different angles to do the kind of
Yeah.
the same thing. We're still coming to the same point. We're just coming at it from different directions.
Correct. And you've that's perfectly worded. I think you couldn't say it. I couldn't have said it any better.
Fantastic. Well, okay, let's move on now from there. Now, something you briefly spoke about a few minutes ago, but I want to make sure people understand this. You've been very clear on social media that this is not an NFT game. You just said, it's not like background mining. It's not taking hash rate from people. It's not doing anything like on the actual Bitcoin chain. Um, what made you set that particular boundary? Is there something in your belief about Bitcoin that you said, okay, we're not going to go that route?
Um. So basically, I wanted to make sure that I think everyone's probably got this as a moral compass. I think when you come to excuse me, I dropped a drink, it went down the wrong hole. I came to Bitcoin about late 2021, and then officially it was probably early 2022. And there was a bottom. There's definitely a bottom. I think May
Right around there.
2022,
Yeah.
and I bought from a sterling perspective. I bought when it was about 16,000,
Okay.
which is from a price perspective, for the price heads, number go up or whatever.
Right.
That's an amazing purchase opportunity. So what I'm saying is, I came to Bitcoin at that point, and I've openly said this. I had dabbled with other things.
Mhm.
Now, the other things came about because I was doing development work with NFTs. Now, I look back on it and I do laugh because, like, they're there, and I was a developer. It purely was, oh, you're a developer, you make games. I need help making an NFT. Or it was more the modeling and the artwork.
Mhm.
It wasn't necessarily about the tech.
Right.
So I'm a designer and a developer, so I help design some bits. But that's all been if anything, it never came to any fruition. So I just want to get that out there. I've got some experience on the other side.
We've all come I don't say we haven't all, very few people have been from the beginning a Bitcoin purist. I mean, I think we can all say we've all looked at
Yeah.
other things, right? I mean, it is
Yeah.
what
I
it
mean,
is.
you wouldn't be human
Yeah.
if you didn't. And I think that's a big part of, I think the conviction part comes later,
Right.
because once you realize, okay, all of that, I'm going to say it, all of that shit
Yep.
goes over there,
Mhm.
and it is worthless.
Right.
It's absolute mind-numbingly stupid stuff. Again, put my flag in the ground there. That is, I've been there, I've done that. I think, again, it's a learning curve. You have to have made some mistakes to then realize where you're
Yep.
going. Again, it's just, whether that's a wisdom thing, I don't know. But
Mhm.
anyway, so then I stuck with Bitcoin thereafter. Who was it? So I went to, I will come full circle to your question, but I went to a Bitcoin meetup in Canterbury,
Okay.
which is not far from me, down in the southeast in Kent. And I got given my first set of sats. Lightning, got the wallet Satoshi, and it was Bridge to Bitcoin. It was Chris from Bridge to Bitcoin. Amazing, lovely, lovely guy. And it was just being around those Bitcoiners and in that vibe,
Mhm.
you know. You know what it's like.
Absolutely.
When you get chat like us, you
Mhm.
get chatting to other Bitcoiners, you just all have that very, it's like a clear
Mhm.
goal of where you're all going,
Yep.
and you're all doing your own little thing to get there. And then when I was in that, I was in a pub, I was in a proper traditional pub, and everyone was just lovely. And I was telling them, yeah, I've done this, done that, done that. And they went, oh no, how about you do this instead? And it just guidance from other people that knew what they were doing. And then I found my people. So,
Yep.
and what was the question again?
Yeah, so the whole, the boundary that was set of, this isn't going to be like an
Yeah,
on-chain ordinals game, or we're going to have NFTs for all your cards, which there are things out there that do that. So, like,
yeah,
you set like a hard stop and said this is not what we're going to do.
yeah. So thank you for the reminder. So I think, yeah, so the context there helps lead to, I think people understand why I brought that in. I I know the value of being clear and concise and upfront with people. I think, people can read bullshit.
Yeah.
So if I came out with a game and said, oh, this, that, and that, and it's going to have NFTs and tokens and stuff, instantly it sets in someone's mind. Oh, it's going to have a token gated event.
Mhm.
Oh my god, he's gonna rug everyone.
Yep.
He's going to do this. He's going to do that. No, I, I've been there.
Yeah.
No, no, and no.
Mhm.
It is a game. You can play it. You can not play it. You will earn sats. I am seeding that. That's out of my own money. It's a wallet. It's all there.
Mhm.
It's I use Albi backend, and they've been
Yeah.
amazing. I've been on a couple of development calls with them. Those guys are
Yeah.
epic, and they're a lovely bunch of guys. And so, they've pulled me in, and it's people that I've spoken to, and they were like, "Oh, you got to get Cookie on a call," blah 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 blah. So yeah, I drew that line almost from the get go.
Mhm.
It was, I want to use my skills as a game developer. I want to create a game, and I'm a Bitcoiner. So let's make love with those two. So I did,
Uh-huh.
and obviously being a Bitcoiner doesn't involve, well, if you're an ordinals person, but to me, traditional Bitcoin, it's a monetary layer,
Mhm.
and I don't want to affect that. I want it to still be a monetary layer, but my game runs just outside, and you can play the game and it uses Bitcoin from a monetary perspective,
Mhm.
which is perfect. Because if you want to spend Bitcoin in it, you can. You don't have to. It's very, you can come and go.
Right.
It, And that's the thing with Bitcoin.
Mhm.
It does its thing, and people come and go, but it still does its thing. And that's the thing with my game is that you can come and go with my game and then go away again.
Mhm.
It's I can't think of the right words, but that's for me. I think that's perfect.
Mhm.
It's just perfect. No NFTs, no needing to because that attracts also it attracts the wrong
It can. The wrong
I'm gonna say
crowd.
it attracts the wrong, yeah, it attracts the wrong type of person, and then the game becomes a seedy kind of dirty, like, oh, I'm just farming it for NFTs and just farming it for tokens, and
Right.
I don't want that. The community comes first,
Mhm.
and if I can get a really good community around it and playing it, you know, who knows? Who knows?
Mhm. And you
Maybe I'll be talking after Sailor one day on a
that
stage.
would be
I don't
great.
know.
I'd love to see that.
Thanks very much, Sailor.
Yeah.
Your stretch and all your other
Yeah,
products
thanks
are
for the
fantastic.
intro.
But our next speaker is Cookie from the UK. No,
That's great. No, and so that's cool that you bring that up though with the whole how it works because I think there's you talked about factions before. There's groups within Bitcoin. We all know this. Uh,
yep,
but I think one thing when we get down close to a base layer of agreement with Bitcoin, we can all agree Bitcoin is to be used as money. Now, some people say, well, not solely as money. Okay, but it's still used as money. So if you keep it at
yeah.
that, where
But
it's
bottom layer is the
right,
money. Yeah,
it's down here, it's money as a base. Then anything else on top of it is where we can agree or disagree. And by not adding that stuff in as an NFT or anything else, even the ordinals and NFTers and runes guys can say, well, it's still money, so it's still good, right? So, but at the
yeah.
same time, if you start adding in the ordinals, the NFT, you will alienate some people, right? That's just going to happen. And I'm
It's the nature of it.
right. We're not
Yeah,
trying to say that to crap on anyone, but they know it too. It's going to happen. I mean, I've had strong opinions about how it's a monetary layer and that's what it's
yeah.
for. And at the same time, when the parasite guys hit a block, I'll cheer for them because they're Bitcoiners and they're
Oh,
miners. So
yeah. I was super stoked when they did. I
yeah,
saw that, and they've done it a couple of times as well, haven't they?
yeah,
Yeah,
I think they've hit
brilliant.
like 3 or 4 now. And again, will I put my stuff on there? No, and that's not saying that,
No,
it's not a for or
yeah.
against thing. It's not, you're my enemy. It's just I
It's
just don't agree with it.
That's your choice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's your
I don't
choice.
agree with
And
it.
at the end of the day, that's your own sovereignty to say,
Mhm.
I want to direct my hash power over here.
Right,
It's choice.
right.
It's choice. No one can tell you what you can and can't do. This
Exactly
is
right.
being a human.
Mhm,
Government set a standard and law and
mhm,
how you should act morally, or internally is morally, but how you should act within the law.
mhm,
Everything else is like, if I want to if I want to up and go now and just walk out and and travel the breadth of the country and then come back, I'll do
you
it.
could do it.
It's like freedom,
Mhm,
do what I want
absolutely.
within,
Within limits,
yeah,
right? But again,
within limit, yeah,
therein sets the limit is, it's still attached to Bitcoin. You can still collect things like you collect an NFT. It's just doing it in the proof of play system. You don't
correct.
need to put it on the chain, and that's kind of the point of it. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah,
everything has
yeah.
to be on the chain.
I've built, and you probably know, I've built several other kind of websites that essentially track your level of play,
Mm,
and then from that perspective, I think that's a really good. Um, what's the word? It's it sets an alternative way of tracking, but not putting anything on the chain.
mhm,
Essentially, it's a traditional way of tracking your stats. So you can log in. There's an accounts side to the game. You can log in. You can track all of your stats, all of your cards, all of your milestones. Every bit for the statists.
mhm,
It's amazing. You
yep.
can go in there and track everything. You can also buy things in there as well. I've got to track that in there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and you've got that kind of segues here to on my sheet it's question 12, but it kind of segues into you've got the Nostr powered leaderboards and public layer profiles into the system. Um,
yep.
what made you look at Nostr and say, this makes sense for a Bitcoin focused game?
Um. So I where was I when that happened? Oh yeah, so I mentioned I was in an Albi call.
Mhm,
I was in an Albi developers call because obviously I'm utilizing Albi as the back end for the layer two for the Lightning.
mhm,
Um, and someone mentioned about how you know Nostr and Bitcoin, they share a lot of DNA.
yeah,
They're both open protocols, public keys. and it's less reliant on a central platform deciding who exists or what can be done.
Mhm.
Um, and when they said, because I didn't really know a lot about Nostr at the time, and it was after that call I went away. Like most things, you hear something, you go, "Oh, I'm going to have a little read up on that."
Mhm.
And when I realised that it was fortuitous, Nathan Day from BTC Maps. Now that guy, legend, loveliest guy you'll ever meet. I converse with him quite a lot now. He he said to me, "Okay, you're developing a game. I've developed a Nostr platform called Gamester.io." I was like, "Okay," and he explained to me it's like a marketplace for games.
Oh,
I
cool.
was like, "Okay." So then it was, "Can I get my game on there?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "But there was no like you must put Nostr tech in your game."
Right.
And he said, "But what you could use my platform for, the Gamester.io platform for, is we host your game and then you can literally tack on a global leaderboard." And I was like, "I haven't got a leaderboard in my game." So it naturally overlapped, and for us, there was something interesting about allowing a player's identity and achievements to exist beyond the game itself as well.
Mhm.
So, so we've built in public profiles, statistics, leaderboards, and a wider ecosystem around the player using Nostr. And you can obviously you could that Nostr part of it. If you've not looked at Games.io in the way Nostr works, is you can actually zap. So where someone's got like a leaderboard entry, if you like it and you think they're doing well, you can zap them and send them sats.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a no-brainer. Why not just put it out there? And it it then ties into, I'm also tracking via PlayFab, which is like a centralized backend system. So there's kind of the public global leaderboard, and then I've got like an internal tracking, which I then use for the stats side of it. But yeah, from a Nostr perspective, it made sense to put that in as well.
Very
So
cool. No, that's awesome. And Noster's one of those things I think, and I'm including myself in this. A lot of Bitcoiners, we start getting into it. We start going down the rabbit holes. We start reading books. We start doing all this stuff. We start learning more about it. We get into it and we're like, oh, Noster's cool. It's a decentralized platform, and that's what I'm for. And blah
and
blah.
then we underuse it.
Yeah, and then you get on there and like I've probably got 11 Nostr keys, and I don't use it properly.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, it's my yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a so
It's early.
it
It's just
is.
early.
And I want to actually send a shout out right now to Stacy Bitcoin Nova, because she has actually been sucking me into not a Nostr more, because she's worked with Conduit now and they have a
Yeah, yeah,
marketplace. Yeah, and she's
yeah.
like, "Hey, you got your 3D stuff that you do for your 3D printing stuff for mining, and you need to get on there." And now I'm looking at it. I've been incentivized to use Nostr.
Yeah,
And
because you output a physical thing that you could sell
Mhm.
through the conduit marketplace. I
Right.
mean, this is a plug, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Looks
it's
cool.
why not? I mean,
Yeah.
it is cool. I've looked at it. I've not dived into it because of time
Same here.
constraints, and I have messaged on the Signal group. Excuse me, that I'm gonna dive into it, but I need to arrange a call with them
Yeah.
to just go through some technicalities, because I want to integrate so that when someone buys something on the conduit marketplace, it links into my current workflow
Mhm.
and fulfillment system that I've built. So
Mhm. Now,
if I can get that info, I'll be rocking and rolling. So
I'm gonna go off on a side question here that was not in the list, and it's just because of
yeah,
this.
that's fine.
And if you need
Slight
me,
panic.
yeah, if you need me to edit this out because you don't want it in there, that's no problem.
That's fine.
But
It's
at
good.
some point, I mean, we talk about collectible card games, right? One thing
Yes.
with collectible card games is trading cards, right? So the
Yes.
ability between players to trade cards. Something like Conduit may make it possible for players to say, I got my double A card, you've got a cookie card, let's trade. Exactly. Like, yeah. So like let's do it. So that actually brings a whole new level to the in my mind. Again, there you go. Look at that. That's so cool, man. I love that. BitPain. That's one of my
I
favorite
mean,
cards in the game, by the way, is BitPain. I use him.
oh, bit yeah, he's really like, and this is so like kind of nerdy. Like when he comes out, because obviously he's an instant attack card.
Mhm,
I think he dishes from this card. It's changed, but he dishes like +3 damage.
mhm.
So that's quite an effective card.
Yeah.
You can play it straight away. He's not necessarily visually seen by the opponent, but in the combat log, you've been bit
You've been
pained.
BitPain. No, and that's great. I
If
love
you
it.
ever saw this, it'd be
Mhm.
highlight.
So, but yeah, anyway, I see so many opportunities for that. And again, Nostr something I
Yeah.
think it's by myself too. I'm including myself in this. It's severely overlooked for the utility of it. A lot of people call it's just a Bitcoin maxi echo chamber. I don't think that's
Yeah.
necessary. Like I get it, but at the same time, I think with Nostr, you can make it what you want it. So if you're
Yeah.
finding it's an echo
Yeah.
chamber for maxis, that's because that's who all you're following. There's no algorithm pumping you things or other things like we see in
It's
other platforms.
almost like that's the way it should be.
Mhm.
If you just boil it down,
Yeah.
and it has been boiled, that is it. Nostr is boiled down.
Yeah.
There's no like you lift the hood and it's like, oh,
That's all there is.
that's okay.
Mhm.
Carry on.
It's what I put in it. Right, exactly. And that's something
Yeah,
like
what you put in it is what you get out of it. Yeah.
yeah, and I've been
Not
letting
like
Sven tell you
garbage in.
that. Mhm.
Yeah, like there's the phrase in there, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Well, if you put good in, you'll get good out.
Right.
I know it sounds obvious.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that's great. That's in there. And if you got your leaderboards, that's something, we've got conventions. There's going to be people going to Bitcoin conventions in the future, and there's going to be a couple, networked computers set up. And
Yeah,
we just saw this
lands
exactly the
like
old
land
LAN parties,
parties.
baby.
Remember?
Yeah, back in the day.
Oh God.
But like for instance,
Yeah.
at in Miami at Disrupt last month when I was there, the
Yep.
Gecko Science made it's called their K box. It's a miner.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
bespoke
yeah.
miner. It's got 155 little brass screws in it. It's handmade by the small
Beautiful.
team, 3 or 4 people out there. But
Yeah.
they put the Easter egg in there of Doom is in there, the whole game. The whole game of
Oh
Doom.
yeah, that's what I saw.
Right.
It was running on the little screen.
Yeah.
Oh mate.
You can play it on the little screen, or if you have your UI up on your computer for your miner and you click the logo 5 times, it pulls up
Yes.
because it's like $7 and you can buy the license for the entire game of Doom. Is how it is.
Brilliant. Because that's like on the Start 9. I don't know if you've on the Start 9 Nook, the little box that you can run knots, for example. On knots, when you're looking for an update, there is an option to be able to, like you say, you click while you're waiting for the update, and you can play Snake.
There you go. Right?
Yeah, and I'm running both, just to be clear. I'm not a Nazi. I was running. I think I'm still running both. I'm running core on my Umbral, and I'm running knots on the Start 9. So I'm a fence sitter.
There you go. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, especially right now. There's so much going on with that. I completely get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, like you can do that and play that game. And people were coming over to the booth, to Altair Technologies booth, because they had it set up on a screen. So you can come sit down, click it, and then play. You could put in we had OGs coming over that were like, man, I used to play this back in the 90s, and they're putting in the cheat codes for God mode, and boom, it worked right through this.
God, I couldn't remember what they are.
Yeah.
Christ.
So like, but what my whole point in that is I can envision, future BTC Prague, BTC plus plus, mining disrupt, Midwest Mining Summit coming up. In the future, there's going to be someone who's setting up some computers to do a little LAN party, and they're going to say, come play proof of play. And people
And
can
it's
sit there and play.
totally viable. Totally viable. I mean, we had 2 laptops back to back in Prague on a little table, like sort of chest height. And people were just coming over. And because we had the games preloaded, like demo loaded, it had like the BTC Prague skin, and the background was an environment called BTC Prague, which I made especially for the venue. Yeah, it's brilliant. And that will be eventually unlockable or purchasable in the store. It is available, but it's just hidden from being selectable.
Right.
Yeah, they were coming over and they were just jumping on, clicking buttons, and they were like, "How do you play it?" And I was like, "Well, you click a card and then click that card. That's it."
That's it.
And they were like, "Is that it?" I was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Low entry.
That is it.
Low barrier of entry.
They were like, "What? I don't need to." I was like, "No, I've designed it so it's like point and click.
Very simple. Very easy to use. Anybody can do it. My first few games, I was like, and at no point was I like, this is stupid. It was more like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. What is it? And then I figured, like at first,
I'm not trying to trick you.
It was like I was trying to do it like Magic the Gathering. I wasn't thinking it was lane based. I was doing things like that. Like, why can't I attack? Oh, because my lane is blocked. Okay, I can't. So it all started clicking, but it didn't take long. First couple games, and then next thing I know, I'm like, okay, I want to get my dailies done, so I'm gonna play another 6 games. I want to get this done.
Well done. Oh, brilliant.
So
and they change as well. So they totally change. I've got the ability to. So I don't want to digress too much, but the game's so modular built where I can tack in new, like even based on seasons, I can put in new what they call scriptable objects,
Mhm.
which essentially uh, bolt in more like more uh, what's the word, more variety.
Okay.
So you get tons of, at the moment, it's got variety in there. Of course it has, but I can extend that. So there's like there could be like hundreds of different variety of dailies.
Oh,
There could be,
sure.
and then new features. Like it's going to be season based. The mining. If you've not already clocked, currently it's alpha extended,
Mhm.
but I will be able to give that names, and like it will run like cycles again to do with Bitcoin. So I'll run it over like, I don't know, 6 months will be one season.
Mhm.
6 months will be another season. My cycle will probably be, I don't know, instead of a year cycle, it will be 6 monthly,
Right.
and then I'll run at the end of the 6 months, I'll run like maybe a massive tournament and those sort of things. And it's just garnering interest.
Sure.
It's getting people involved and then keeping the momentum going. That's a big one,
Mhm.
the momentum. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and replayability, right? That's always a big thing
Yes.
with any game. You play
Yeah.
like I have games sitting in my Steam account that I have not touched in 10 years, right? I paid 60,
Same.
$70 for them back in the day.
Yeah.
I played them
Yeah.
through and I never touched them again. But if a game gives you a reason to come back and not just, oh, I can win sats, that's a good reason. But there's other
It
reasons.
is.
There's
Yeah.
new cards that come out. Like you said, there's tournaments, there's going to be seasons, there's going to be factions, there's things that say, come on back. And
Yeah.
it's not this isn't the type of game where you're like you're right up against the screen for 40 straight
No.
hours because you got to get you got to play through the storyline. You could play this for 10, 15, 20 minutes, play your
Yeah.
matches, go finish
Yeah.
doing what you're doing, go have lunch,
Yeah.
and then if you feel it later, you come back and play some more.
Yeah, and when you log in, there's to one of the newer updates, probably second to last update. I included the ability to see who's online,
Mhm.
and you can challenge people directly. Again, it's quick.
Uh-huh.
If you see the number of people that are online currently, I mean, there's not that many people online because this is all new. It's
Right.
all early. I'm not deluding myself. I'm expecting that I'm going to go through a route of there's going to be not a lot of play because people are busy.
Right.
I get that. I'm not, play my game now. Um, so when people log on, they can see who's on. You can directly challenge them, and then that has a timeout.
Mhm.
If and there's no like. If you don't want to play something, you don't want to. You can just set yourself as offline.
Right.
I've put that functionality in there. Again, it's more layers of what people expect to be available in a game.
Mhm.
You can now directly, instead of having to go into Discord and wait for someone to create a game, and that was all back in the past.
Mhm.
Now you can just load the game up. Oh, I see Billy Bob Thornton's playing whatever.
Right.
I don't know his random name. I'm going to play Billy. So you send them a challenge. If they accept, you end up playing a game. It's as straight up as that. It's fast and straight.
Yep, and that
Works.
was what I loved about it when I was playing it the other day on Steam was, and I'm gonna be doing it again here in a couple days, to show it again. I want to put it on the stream, but I got to find a
Yeah.
better time to do it because the last time I did it at like noon on a Friday and people are at work here in the US and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, nobody's really
Yeah.
seeing this. I didn't do it justice, but I'll get that
No,
figured
it's
out. But
yeah,
yeah, see, and
difficult.
but
Yeah.
it also is like if you're a game streamer, this is one of those games that's a good one because not only
Yeah.
can you they're fast, so people are interested. It's not you slogging through a quest line, but
Yeah.
they're fast. You can challenge your viewers. Hey,
Yes.
who's in chat right now? Who wants to play a match?
Yeah,
Let's get it going.
exactly. See, that's the other side of it. Where I've not even thought of that, but like I know that stuff goes on. So there's another thing. A couple of accounts have reached out to me about this ties into that, but also so they have Twitch channels, but they also do. So there's not only gaming on Twitch. There's people opening packs as well, isn't there?
Mhm.
What do they call it? Call it Whatnot? Is it something like
Yeah, I think
Whatnot?
it's something like yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not into it,
and
but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, thank you. Yeah. So someone said that about Whatnot opening pack, and I went, "What is that?" And I went down this other rabbit hole, and there's this really nice guy. Shout out to Techman
Techman
T, I
Ty.
think
Yeah.
his name
Mhm.
is Techman T.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
Mhm.
him? Yeah. So I my memory gets a bit hazy as I'm getting older, but he got in touch and he was like, "Dude, I love what you're doing. I'd love to do pack openings." So I was like,
It's a whole different avenue.
and again, Yeah, and again, so again, that feeds into the, as I've mentioned, there are physical cards coming. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that skipped the question line,
No,
but
no, no,
it's
we're good. That let's talk about that now that you brought it up. So if you're comfortable
okay.
with that, I saw that the other day when you put it out on X. That this was a
Yeah,
thing, and I kind of shared it out, and I did the whole mind blowing. I was like, "Oh no, here we
yeah, so
go! I'm gonna need
yeah.
more binders and card displays. Here we go." So yeah, so that's becoming a thing. How did that come about that you started looking into this?
Yeah, so well, I'll show them again, but I have got conceptual physical cards. Now, the reason I made these, and these are under the original game name,
Hmm.
are I wanted to. I thought it would be a nice gesture to some of the people that had supported me early days, and you know, what are we now? 2026. It was like early early to mid 2024, even earlier than that, probably just after 20. uh, Some people were like, "Oh, you're making a card game," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I said, "Well, look, I've got an idea of as a thank you, I'd like to send out physical cards." And so I did. These are called early supporter collector cards.
Cool.
So I made a batch of 21, and makes sense. And I sent those out. I spent my own money.
Mm.
I printed these up. I sent them out I packaged them up individually. I've got tons of extra packaging down here.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was my way of saying, look, it was a marketing ploy, but ploy is probably the wrong word. It was a thank you,
Right.
but at the same time, these people have got something that exists. It's a one of
Right.
a kind. It's from pre-named. If things go the way I hope they do, they'll be able to look back and go, I was part of that journey.
Mhm.
I've got these things on my desk. They're in my collection,
Mhm.
because some people have like ornate collections of loads of different things that they've gathered from events,
Mhm.
Bitcoin conferences and things like that. I mean, I've even done merch. I've got some half zips, some t-shirts, and bits and pieces.
Mhm.
It's it's a nice way of just saying, look, I see you, you see me. Here's a thank you, and I've sent them out these physical cards. So these are 2.5 by 3.5 inch traditional
Mhm.
square cut cornered trading cards. Now, I'm by no means an expert in this stuff. I'm going down this journey and finding all of these little intricate that you probably know a lot more about it than I do. Um, it's fascinating. And I've used three different distributors that have made these types of cards for me, each with varying outcomes and varying prices.
Mhm.
Um, I I have managed, and I mean, it's public. I have managed to find a distributor that I can now auto fulfill without having to order all of this stuff into me physically here and sending it out from Project HQ here in the UK.
Mhm.
That's going to work out really
Yeah.
expensive. And from a business perspective, if we've put our business hat on,
Yep.
I need to make it in a way where you get something that you are after as a collector at a reasonable price, but also I'm not having to make the process more difficult by being involved in that,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
auto fulfillment is perfect for that, and so
Absolutely.
I've got a distributor that will do that for me.
Nice.
And I know I know that Mel from she does the she
BTC
does the thing called
boomers.
the yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, Mel. She quite early on, she was really, really supportive.
Mhm.
And she sort of said that like the Bitcoin trading card guys, Aladdin, they'd gone through all of this. Like if you were to look on this, you can see me going through, concept one, concept two,
Mhm.
mark one, mark two, a bit like Iron Man. I've got all these different types of
Right.
cards like represent different suits,
Mhm.
and I've finally settled on what I need, or what's going to look good, what's going to complement the digital game. So yeah, the physical to booknote it, to bookend it, physical cards are coming.
Cool.
They are coming.
That's awesome.
You'll be able to collect them.
Yep.
You'll be able to collect them. They'll come in blister packs. Um, I want to also say, and this is probably going to be a special announcement, I have also started work on the board game version,
Cool.
the physical board game of the game.
That's awesome.
It's not easy,
No, I can't
but
imagine that's
it's
easy.
but it's there. And I mean, if anyone can imagine how much time it takes to, you've got to, it's focus. It's like this little thing, because people, when they get these things, they'll look for imperfections,
Mhm.
and some people, they love the imperfections because then they know that it's worth
It's
more.
worth more. Yep.
But yeah, I'm going to try my best not to put any imperfections in there.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's all taking shape. It is coming. God willing, whatever, it will eventually materialize at an event potentially where I'll have the board game and people can sit down and play the board game. So
Yeah.
I just need more time.
And one day our grandkids, our grandkids are going
Yeah,
to be going to the Bitcoin museum, and they're going to see like that card on the wall in a acrylic case,
maybe.
right? Like they're going to be like,
Yeah,
this was donated by the grandkid of, so and so, who, granddad
yeah,
was in the game, he was an initial supporter, and they're going to be like, oh, that's so cool. But
yeah.
like there's all these,
That's a lovely way to put it as well. Yeah, I never thought of that.
but it's that culture that is around Bitcoin that's developing, and that's what's really cool. Is it's not just people who
Yeah,
are sitting there going, money, 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 money. It's going to be our money,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
important. But building the culture around it is what gets other people who have no clue about it into it. You get that kid who's
yeah,
really into card games, that 17, 18, 19
yeah,
year old kid. They're really into card games, and they say, what's your dad playing, or whatever, your crazy Gen X
yeah,
dad playing. And next thing you know, they're like, well, I'll download it, and they're playing it,
yeah,
and then they get some sats, and now they're off zero.
yeah.
And now we just
And
create
I've
a new
had that.
Bitcoiner.
Yeah, exactly, and that's adoption, isn't it?
Hmm.
In a completely, like, not even a left field type of way. It's just it's it's part of the whole makeup of Bitcoin. People build things,
Hmm.
and when you build it, I want to say, when you build it, they will come.
It's true though, but
It's like,
it's an axiom that's true, so it fits,
yeah,
right? It does
yeah,
fit. Monopoly. When the guy created
yeah. Oh,
Monopoly, I don't think he thought, I'm going to do this to teach people about, capitalism and property ownership, and, expanding property and developing it. But that's what it turned out to be, right? That's what
yeah,
it
and
turned
lots
out
of
to be.
fights,
So, and for all we know,
lots of arguments as
yeah, for
well.
all we know, Bitcoin, BTC Proof of Play is going to be the monopoly of Bitcoin, where,
I never thought of it that way.
going down the line, this is how people are learning to, their kids are learning to play it. The younger people are
I'd
learning to
love
play it.
that.
Yeah, I,
I'd absolutely love that.
I would
There
too.
was one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've deviated a bit, but there was one lady who now follows me. God, for the life of me, I can't remember her name. Just keeping track of all these people is a full time job. The lady came to me. She's from South America. She's doing like a massive education movement down there,
Mhm.
and I want to try and remember her name. I'll have to come back to you, maybe put it in the credits. But she came over, lovely lady, and I was there. There's a lot of energy at these events when when you're exhibiting.
Mhm.
You're doing this for like 8 hours
Right.
plus. It's constant.
Mhm.
Anyway, she came over and it was like a little bit of a respite. She went, I love what you're doing. Your game is literally a gateway for Gen Z, Gen X, all the new, young, fresh, like full of
Mhm.
curiosity young people to like get hold of a medium that they know,
Right.
games.
Mhm.
And like we've said all along throughout this interview, like they will absorb it in a manner that is suitable to them,
Mhm.
that they feel comfortable with, and your game does it. It like
Yeah.
right on the nail. I was like,
Spot on.
oh yeah. I was like, wow, I really don't know what to say to that. She went, you're on to something. She said, you just need to stick with it.
Mhm. Totally
Stay the
agree with it.
course.
Yeah.
So
Not
I
every
was like,
kid's gonna,
thank you very
yeah.
much.
Not every kid's gonna pick up a copy of the Bitcoin Standard,
Yeah,
right? Not everyone's going to
yeah,
do that. So everybody
yeah,
learns in their own style and at their own pace. And for some people, that
yes,
might be 20 games of proof of play
yeah,
before it clicks,
definitely.
and that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and
So,
yeah, and I I will eventually. I think someone did say, "I'll make sure you get the white paper in there." I don't want to kind of hamstring or wedge the white paper in there just because it should be there, but I'll, in some clever kind of fashion, what I was thinking of doing is there might be I might do a set of cards. I've tended to do like 5 cards for a set,
mhm.
and in each card, if you were to put them all together, it will make up the white paper.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be
Yeah,
neat.
yeah.
That would be
And
neat.
you imagine that as a physical collectible
Oh
card
yeah.
set, and you could have that
I'd put
framed
that on the wall.
on the wall.
Absolutely.
How
Yeah.
cool would that
My
be?
wife and I
So,
collect fine art. Yeah, so that would be something I would be like, I want that on the. It's a talking piece. I could put that on the wall. I can enjoy it looking at it, and other people would be like, "What's that? Come here, let me
yeah.
show you."
Yeah, they're TCG cards from BTC Pop. And they're like, BTC Pop? And
What's
you're like,
that?
yeah, it's like a learning type
Get out your phone. I'm
fun.
going to show you.
fun- Yeah. Look, I'll show you on my phone. Yeah, you know.
And that's the
Yeah.
cool stuff about it. So that being said, we're kind of talking about this is developing into something that's now looking into the future, right? So
Yeah.
at that point, what's kind of the roadmap right now? What can people expect to see like in the next few months coming out? What's the goals?
So the roadmap is a little bit in the air, but I have a rough, like I have a broad, because it's kind of mainly me. I mean, Matt, bless him, I mentioned him again over in Florida, my sort of co-dev. He's doing his own thing as well, but we kind of dovetail and we'll like come in and out of helping each other.
Hmm.
So he did the big uplift for me with doing all of the solid modeling and bits and pieces. Um, for me, I don't want to say I'm not overwhelmed at the moment. Whether or not that's like a sort of a is that a good thing to be a little bit overwhelmed? But I've got again scope wise, I need to try and just keep it keep it on a level where I know where I'm going. So at the moment, how I see it is I've got two camps. I've got digital and I've got physical. Now physical is just burgeoning,
Hmm.
but the digital side is starting to kind of plateau in a good way
Hmm.
where I know I'm at a good, like you said, it plays, you can get a full game loop. There shouldn't be any bugs. I've not had any bug reports. It works. I can, like most things, I know it runs, so I can, and that's good.
Uh-huh.
So I'll leave that gestating,
Hmm.
and then I know I can add more content to that. I've got a really good workflow for that. So
Hmm.
the roadmap would probably be pivoting, say, I don't know, 70/30, 70 digital, 30 physical,
Hmm.
and then I'll probably increment more percentage towards physical.
Sure.
And then if we're talking physical, as we said, it will be, the cards, making sure the fulfillment works, making sure the website works, making sure that the customer's happy, and that I can get the cards out there. I'm going to potentially start sending out some free blister packs to some creators who will do card
Yep.
ripping and opening, and and they can dive in and have a look at the quality. And that's currently kind of the short to mid term.
Hmm.
With the digital side, as you've said, it's in alpha.
Hmm.
I will be moving that into beta, because generally with alpha, you're building the features and the structure and the content and the core part of it, and then with beta, you're tending to move into polish,
Hmm.
and then you
Stress
go into
testing.
production. Yeah, you go into production, and then write up a really good guide on the game, the from A to Z, how you play the game,
Hmm.
finalizing all of that, making sure there's like potentially a wiki. Probably going to set up some sort of wiki site which will have all of the content for the game. But yeah, it will be physical.
Gotcha.
I think physicals, I've had to open my eyes a little bit. People they want to hold, they want to feel the physical thing. I've had a lot of people say to me, if it was physical, I'd buy it.
Hmm.
I'd buy it in a heartbeat. If it's digital, it's not my thing. But then again, I'm appealing to both
Right.
camps. So yeah, if that helps answer that, it's
Does.
it's
Yeah.
physical, but I can't really give any more away than probably what I've told anyway.
Hmm.
The websites I've got that are live, they do kind of tell the story at the moment,
Hmm.
and they'll start to flesh out with more physical and digital packs. I mean, I'm doing so. There's one little thing I've probably missed off, which is creator packs. So this might not be well known, but any of the creator packs in the game, so the digital creator packs, if you buy them in store, this for me is like true to my word. I want to bring people along with me. I want to bring the community along, and I want to bring new people into Bitcoin. That for me, it's like those three things. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the third one with the creator part was how can I have something where I get some artwork or something, some incentive from a creator to put their content in the game. Then, as as a sort of a retro feedback or kickback to them, if a customer or player buys their creator pack, this is the best part. There's a split revenue in Bitcoin paid instantly to the creator's wallet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So as soon as their pack is bought in game, it pays me as the creator of the entire product, but also a percentage of that goes to them.
Little royalty. Yeah.
Yeah, they get I think it's 30%.
Mm-hmm.
They get 30% of the royalty of Bitcoin. And I've already successfully had 3 or 4 purchases of the Hero of Bitcoin card pack.
Mm-hmm.
So people have now got the Hero of Bitcoin cards in their collection, available to build into their deck and play on a game against another player. And that in itself drums more organic virality, because another player will go, "Oh my god, where did you get those cards?" And if you're playing a friend, you're like, "Oh, I bought them." Oh, and also a percentage of when you buy it goes to the original creator. So I'm building that ecosystem,
Sure.
and it's slow and early days, but again, Rome wasn't built,
Right.
overnight. So
No, and
we'll see.
the marketing of that is fantastic, because now you're also that creator. If you're a content creator or you're some type of a
Yeah.
creative, I should say, not a content creator.
Within the Bitcoin space,
Right. You're
yeah.
a creative, and you're thinking, how can I, do something?
Another avenue.
Yeah. And now
Yeah.
now it's another option you can do it. And now that person's also going to be telling everybody that's in their
Yeah.
bubble, hey, I developed these
See-
cards with this guy on this game. Go check it out. And
Yeah.
everybody benefits.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
And I've said that, and see now you're probably like, you must be firing off neurons in your brain
Man,
going,
you're about to get some mining pack ideas from me on.
so there is a generic mining pack
Yeah.
in there. So I've created some, there's a community pack, the Bitcoin army cards in that one. There's the community pack, there's a mining pack, there's the Genesis pack, which has got some very well-known characters in there. You've got the random mystery pack, which is great. When you buy that, it will give you 5 random cards, completely different every single time. So that's the repeatable. And then you've got the Hero of Bitcoin, and then there's the privacy one, which was the newer one I brought out. So not a lot of people know about some of the characters in that pack. I'll leave it for them to find out. I won't mention their names.
Awesome.
But again, yeah, when you look at it, you're like, that's expandable to, like, there's no cap on that. The shop could have tons of creators in there, and essentially I'm building an ecosystem that they don't actually have to do a lot to enter. It's just an image. Give me, like, yes, go for it. You can use this particular image and this name. Have at it. Oh, but as a kickback, if someone buys it, you instantly get a ping on your phone, and it will tell you it was the Bitcoin Proof of Play creator pack with your name on it. How cool's that? Hero Bitcoin's had at least 4 of those so far. So,
and that's great, because you're in alpha still.
Everyone
Like,
wins.
we're not talking, there's not hundreds of thousands of people playing this yet.
no, not yet.
But
Well, yeah,
so,
not yet.
I mean, honestly, like, that's not a bad percentile for the number of players right now to see that rolling on.
So I'm not going to lie. I've used chat to help me speed things along. You have to be. I said this when I was on the Bitcoin Liberty podcast with Fritz. You have to know programming. So if you're going into it and just chucking code or asking AI to give you code, and you chuck it in, it's not going to work. Like, you have to have come from a programming background. I do programming for my IT job, so I do SQL, SQL. I do loads of different things. C Sharp's my thing. I've used Unity for well over a decade. I know how to use C Sharp. I'm quite proficient. My point is, I use AI to help me speed along the mundane things that would just, like, oh, I need to spin this up. I need to do that. I need to, what I'm getting at is, I chucked it into AI and I said, look, is this the right way of going about, because I chat with it. I say, like, what ideas, what could I potentially get? I'm looking at doing this. Is this a good idea? And it's, it's like, it's my accountant. It's my, I don't know, my mentor in one way. He knows the whole project. I think I've lost my train of thought, but I've used AI for certain parts of it. Like, if someone sent me an image and it's just not quite up to scratch, I'll maybe just upscale it or high res it and things like that. So, and I'm quite open about that. The game specifically being listed on itch, it has a requirement. Is there any AI content in it? So I've had to I've had to make that quite clear.
Sure.
So.
No, and that's
If anything, I'm embracing it. So
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you're going to use what tools you can, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting close on time. So what I want to do, so that way we can make this a viable episode for people. I'm definitely
Yeah.
want to have you back here in probably a few weeks when you've got time again, because
I'd love to.
there's some deep dives I want to do that we're not going to get time for today. But
Okay.
before I let you go, two things. Number one, where's the best way for people to find you out online?
So there's multiple avenues, but the big one is probably on X. I'm better known for the game account, which is the at BTC Proof of Play. On there, you'll pretty much everything gets posted on there. All the videos, all the updates, all the patch updates, all the major updates, everything, all the community information. There's a community based in there as well, which I thought was being sunsetted, but that seems to have
right?
seems to have stayed. Where else? There is. I am on Prime. Well, I say Prime. I'm on Nostr. Same handle at BTC Proof of Play. There is a website which is btcproofofplay.xyz. Try to keep it fairly intuitive. From that's kind of the flashy, like that's the. If you've not heard of the game, you just come across it. That's like the landing website. Gives you a few videos, which will probably change over time. Gives you an overview of the game, and it also pulls some stats from the Portal website. And again, there's multiple sub kind of pages and sites from that. I'm in a process of hopefully trying to kind of merge some of those potentially, because you can have too many websites.
Sure.
But
I know
they
that
each.
feeling.
Yeah. So there's like a card compendium website where you can build your own deck, and there's some auto builds on there. There's the accounts side of it, which is if you've got the game, you've logged in, you just put your username and your email in, and it'll open you up into the accounts page. There's the portal, which is a mixture of an overview for anyone. You don't have to have an account. You go on there, you can see stats, you can see top listed players. I mean, I've got a couple of really dedicated players. Massive shout out to one of them. Noctivus is his gamer name.
Okay.
That guy, without a shadow of a, I'm telling you, once you, like you said, this early on to get these metrics, he logs in literally every single day, does his dailies, plays a couple of games, and he's off.
I love it.
But that in itself is proof of the play. He's in, plays a game or two, he's off. But he's accruing playtime and unlocking things as he goes. That is, if I could multiply that by like 1 million times. I mean, I don't know if there's any return on revenue from him, and I don't want to see players as like am I getting any revenue for it? I'd rather have the player ecosystem, because then it will burgeon into something. It'll morph into some sort of beast all by itself. I feel like a sort of a mad scientist. I've created this game and put it out to everyone, and
that's awesome.
Do what you will with it.
Yep.
So.
I also see just that from the Bitcoin army, I see OG Bring Facts throwing stuff out about it all the time too. So I think so I see him on there as well, throwing things out about it. So that's
massive
cool.
Evangelist. Yeah, he's such a nice guy. I owe him a lot. If anything, he's one of the first few people that got involved really, really early on. And I owe him a massive debt of gratitude. Like he said, he really wants to meet me in person and stuff. So I'd love to. If I can ever get over to the US and
it'll happen
to an event over there. It'll
happen at some point. So okay, so there's that. Now the next thing, I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about the contest you have going right now. So let's talk about that, and then I'm going to throw out my own contest that I didn't tell you about that we're going to put out for the viewers. So I'll do that at the end. But go ahead and talk about your BitKey contest.
Okay, so obviously with everything that's happened more recently around the cold card wallet entropy debacle, should we say? I wanted to. So people have reached out to me, and I'm just going to show it on live cam. So I showed Cinco off interview, but these are genuine sealed packages. They came taped together. So I'm only giving one of these, and I'm showing two, but it makes sense because they've been taped. So one of these is going to be given away. It's a BitKey. It's the version 1. Giving it away for free, because why not? People are in the bottom of a bear market, and people are losing their Bitcoin not through their own fault. They've done everything they were told. So I wanted to, and it was like, again, fortuitous timing. Someone sent me these as like a way of getting me out of the trouble,
Mhm.
because I had a cold card.
Mhm.
Um, I think I've not smashed it up yet. I think I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
I'm going to frame it.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, the BitKey competition I'm doing, it's not even a competition, it's a giveaway. I've done tons of competitions. The giveaway is basically you have to complete 5 player versus player matches. Sounds easier than it is. So complete 5 player v player matches before the 30th of September. And then come the 1st of October is that's when I'm going to draw the winner. So just by downloading the latest update, which is 4.6.5, so it's the very latest update to the game. If you play that, it will automatically enter you into the giveaway. So if you play 5 PvP games,
Mhm.
it will tally that, and then I will know that you are entered. You will automatically be entered into the to the giveaway. So that's it. Play
Perfect.
5 PvP games, and you get the chance to win a BitKey. Why not?
Yeah. And really, like you said, it's not it's not super easy, but it's not hard either. So there's there's a thing that goes with that. Like if that makes sense to people, like you can do it. It's not that hard to do. The
Yeah.
key thing is get some people on there and playing, get your friends on there and
Yes.
playing as well. So what I'm gonna offer on that is I'm gonna piggyback on this. Okay. So if you guys are
Okay.
watching this video
I
right
like that.
now, you heard it goes till the 30th of September. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna partner with Cookie on this. And when a winner of the bit key is selected, okay, when he selects the winner, once that person wins, all they've got to do is once they get the bit key, and this they don't need to dox themselves or anything. All they'll need to do is show somehow tag me, tag BTC Proof of Play, tag Cookie, some way that we can see like, hey, I'm the winner of this, and I'm gonna go ahead and I will zap well, I will send them through Lightning 100,000 sats so they can load their bit key. So I'm putting it out there on here. So you'll get 100,000 sats from me to the winner, just as an extra incentive to go ahead, play this game. It is worth it. It is so worth it to play it. So that's why I'm gonna throw that out there. So you'll get your bit key, and then I'll load it up for you with your initial sats. So we'll put that out
That
there.
that is amazing. That is amazing. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
100,000 sats and a BitKey. That is probably what better way to get loaded as a
To
Bitcoiner.
play a game,
I
guys.
mean, literally 5 free to play 5
Yeah.
games.
So that's it. All you gotta do is go play some games, right? Go try it out. Cause I'm of the opinion that, and again, this is not like a paid advertisement. I didn't, Cookie didn't reach out to me and say, hey, I reached out to him and said, I want to showcase your stuff. So this isn't something that like we had planned in the background. He didn't even know about that until I said it. But it's
Yeah,
because,
I'm
yeah, because
surprised.
I believe in it. And I think that if people play it by and large, you'll enjoy it. Now it's not for everybody, but not everything is for everybody. But if you play it and you like it, well, there you go. Congratulations. Play 5 games against other people on it. Submit your proof so that way you got it. And then when you win your bit key, I'll load it up with you with 100,000 sats to get you started.
Superb, superb. What better ways to have a massive giveaway?
Right?
Oh, brilliant! I can't thank you enough for
No,
that.
no,
That's superb.
it's more adoption of Bitcoin. And you know what? If an OG
Yep,
wins it, fantastic. You're doing what you're supposed to do. So I have got no problem with that. So
that is
we're
superb.
still
I'll
using
add that.
Bitcoin.
I'll add what you've said to the. I'll tag that onto the post as well. So that's amazing.
Right on.
Thank you,
Yeah. No, no, thank
and
you.
best of luck, everyone.
Yeah. So, and how we'll do that, guys, is I'll go ahead so it's all centralized. You don't need to be giving your information to multiple people. When we get closer to the date, I'll just send the sats over to Cookie so he's got them and he can just give it to the person. You don't need to be giving your information to multiple people. We both respect privacy, so that's not an issue.
Yes,
So I'll just make sure that
absolutely.
happens. But yeah. So okay. So we're gonna start wrapping up then. Again, this is the first of at least 2. I'm definitely want you back in a few weeks. We'll talk about it again. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm going to Midwest Bitcoin Summit in Columbus, Ohio here in September. It's in 30 some days. It's coming up. So
Yeah,
after that, I definitely want to try to reach out to you again. We'll get that going. But Before we
amazing.
wrap up, you have any final thoughts? Something you think I missed? Something you want people to know? The floor is yours.
Okay, so if you're a Bitcoiner and you come and see what happens when someone actually turns, if you're a Bitcoiner, come and see what happens when something actually turns your ridiculous little game, your world into a game. You'll recognize the people, the hardware, the memories. Just by getting the game, you're making history, you're making the arguments. But you'll also discover that there's a proper strategy underneath it. We've talked to the ends about the game and the strategy. But if you're a card game player who knows absolutely nothing about Bitcoin, that's completely fine. You can build a deck, learn the cards, outplay somebody, destroy their network integrity, friendly. Then perhaps you'll play a card referencing something you've never heard of and think, what the hell is this? I think we've said that a few times.
Yep.
You'll look it up, which feeds into the education of Bitcoin. And suddenly the game's taught you a tiny piece of Bitcoin history without sitting you down for a lecture. That's the aim of the game. I didn't want to lecture you. You can just get straight into a game. That's probably the biggest thing I like about building the game. We're not trying to convince people to buy Bitcoin. We're building a game inside the Bitcoin world, and if you've come out of it wanting to understand that world a little better, even better.
Fantastic,
So,
right? That's fantastic. I
yeah.
love it. All right.
you.
So if you guys are watching this, we're ending the episode at block height 962761. This is on a Sunday, August 16th, 2026. We are going to have Cookie back on here in a few weeks. We'll check it out again. In the meantime, this week, keep an eye on my schedule on X, at Cinco Doggos, because I've got a lot of time on my hands right now. And I've got my best friend here. I'm looking to see if he's behind me. My best friend drove in from out of state, surprised me yesterday and came in. So I was really excited about that. He and I grew up on Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Shadowrun, all the classic Gen X games. And I told him last night, I was like, I'm doing an interview with a game dev that does this cool card game. And I want to demo it for him. So sometime this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stream and I'm going to have him sitting here with me and I'm going to play the game so he can ask questions and give comments from a person who knows nothing about Bitcoin. But
Perfect.
yeah, but understands card games. So we'll go ahead and I'll have him just sit next to me while we play and we'll talk about it. But I am going to stream it at least once this week on Twitch. I also do it on like X and all that, but mainly it's a Twitch thing. So make sure you all are keeping an eye out for that because I do giveaways, Sats giveaways on stream to encourage people to obviously watch and to join in. And if you're watching while you're on the stream and you are in the game, make sure you tell me in chat so that way we can do a PvP match. Knock out one of your 5 right there. You'll have video proof that you got one of your 5 done.
So. Exactly. What better way to do it? If you manage to get a few viewers in and and it overlaps with when I'm available, play the dev, get one of your 5.
There you go.
Yes.
I'll let you know ahead of time so you can see the schedule. We'll try to make that work. And that way, I mean, right there between me and you, that's 2 of your 5, right? So you're 40% done right there. So we can hook that up. And then if there's other people in there, then we get the, you get the circle going. So you might be able to knock out all 5 in one day. So, yeah. All right. So cool. All right. Cookie, thank you so much.
Hash by hash, block by block,